What's going on social media? Chilling. It's fucking Monday. Alright? And one thing I'm starting to notice, I don't know necessarily about the holidays, is that days off are starting to not matter anymore. Meaning like weekends, days off, holidays. Like when I take time off, right? You be excited as fuck for the time off and everything, and that's great. But it seems like as soon as you get excited for it and getting to enjoying shit too much, you're right back at work. So I might as well get comfortable with being here. Like they're saying, time flies fast when you're having fun. Like that's a real thing. Because I swear, it feels like okay, this is the second time I felt this way. The first time I felt that way was when we came back from vacation. I took 10 whole days off of that vacation, and that shit went by like that. Like, same thing with this whole thing with Thanksgiving. So, now they try to get motherfuckers to work Thanksgiving, but I just, I'm one of them niggas. I'm not no volunteer ass nigga. The Navy broke me of a lot of that. So, I don't go sticking my neck out to try to help the company. You know what I mean? But them 4 days went by like that. So it's like, what's the point of even getting hyped for a motherfucking 4-day weekend? I mean, I guess it's nice to take time off, but I'm saying, what's the point of getting hyped for this shit if this shit go by in a flash? It just tells me I need to quit my job at some point, right? Because I need this to be a lifestyle, not like, one of those things I have 1 or 2 days off or whatever the case may be. No, I need my entire life to be like that. So, and that's what I strive for. But anyway, right? Now, I ain't really been posting content like a motherfucker because I'm trying to slow down on doing it because I just talk for free. Not only that, but like a lot of things motherfuckers you want me to talk about, I guess a better way to argue it is this, right? The relationship thing, as far as like social media, Facebook, and all the other shit, it's been beat to death. So it's like, what more can I really offer to it that another podcast is not going to offer to it? Like, okay, at this point, where does the gender war really lead you? So it's like, I don't necessarily care to talk about it as much. Like, I'm wanting to get into a space where I move on to talking about other shit. That's just me personally. But, like I said, I'm in these different groups on Facebook, and this post in particular pulled at me, right? Because, from my understanding, just reading from what the lady said, I'm going to just give you like a quick overview if you didn't read it. This lady's husband found red pill content, right? And when he found red pill content, he started acting motherfucking different, right? Toward her, started being on some bullshit, got her son on some bullshit, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck I did or where I went wrong, right? This one hits home for me because I used to be this person. Now, my quick backstory, right? Batman backstory for me. I remember when I discovered red pill content. I remember where I was, and I remember how I found it, right? I think I might have been living in Jacksonville. I had a, studio apartment. And me and my baby mama, and it always goes back to this bitch. Me and my baby mama was beefing like a motherfucker. And I could not figure, like, I'm telling you, being a guy that's unaware of what's going on is some of the most irritating shit on the planet. But I remember typing in, I don't know, I think I might have typed in the YouTube search bar how to deal with a baby mama or whatever, right? And I think this was like in the early period before this thing became, like, so everybody started doing it. And there was a handful, and I remember who exactly came up. It was a guy named Minister Jap, right? Started listening to Minister Jap, came to find out what red pill was, and I'm telling you, as a guy, when you find out what red pill is, you act a lot like her husband. Like, you start taking, I'm telling you, when you find out what red pill content is, when you finding out the shit that women really think, or having an idea of what women really do, for the most part, right? When you are unaware completely, it's like taking a cold brick to the face. Because here's the thing, as a guy, right? When you're younger, you're like, okay, I guess the best way to describe it is the lead up, right? When you watch movies when you're a young man, right? It's always some guy chasing after some chick. She's dubbing the fuck out this nigga, and he's just pursuing her with everything in his spirit to try to convince this girl to like him, right? Most guys fall into chasing instead of pursuing. What do I mean? Chasing, you can't chase nothing that ain't running from you. Like, now when you're pursuing a motherfucker, you're presenting the opportunity. Like, okay, it's basically like when you walk in a mall and a motherfucker hand you teriyaki versus like a motherfucker just sitting it on a plate and letting you come to it. Like, two different ways of going about shit. Anyway, right? When you're younger and you're taking in information or content or just, movies, the way movies and, stuff is structured when you're watching TV, it's always some dude chasing after some woman and the woman don't want him like that. And movies, Disney Channel movies, a lot of movies that you watch when you're a kid, a lot of them are structured that way. It's never some suave ass player dude like getting all the chicks. It might have been, the only person I can think of that might have been that way in movies when I was a kid might have been Mike Lowrey from fucking Bad Boys. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of examples of that. But the saying, like, those are the things as a man you become indoctrinated to. And then you got your mother telling you, like, my mother shot me in the foot with that. Then you got your mother telling you, hey, treat girls right, be a good man. Most women raise their sons to be the man that they want to date. And I'm telling you because I lived it firsthand, right? I was my mama's husband when my mom and my dad were falling out and beefing. Listen, didn't nobody want to fight my dad more than me when I was a kid, right? Because my dad was on bullshit. He was always cheating on my mom. So you're raised with this idea of being like, the good man that's gonna say, like, you are practically as a man raised to be a sucker. Like, I'm saying just by proxy of just like how life is structured, right? Most sons want to defend their mom for the most part. You're not gonna meet too many sons that just don't want to defend their mom. I'm not saying it don't exist, because it does exist. I'm saying, like, if you're a halfway decent mom, your son wants to take a bullet for you. Like, I'm telling you because I've lived it. What does that have to do with red pill? Right? You get indoctrinated with this idea that all women are damsels in distress. They're always being fucked over. Life is so hard to them. And I'm just saying, if you're a halfway decent guy, right? You get raised with this idea in your head that when you meet a woman, you're gonna just treat her like everything. You're gonna be the best person to her ever. And I'm gonna save her from the patriarchy and the fucked up shit that is the world that we live in, right? When you get outside your mother's house and you meet the bitches outside in real time, that is not the reality. Because while you're in the house being conditioned to be a motherfucking husband, girls are not being conditioned to be wives. And look, I'm not saying this is any fault to anyone's own, but what I'm saying as far as this lady's husband is concerned, he probably was indoctrinated with this idea to be this person. Again, and a lot of us are. Now, as far as their situation specifically, I don't know why he would like go left like that. But then again, I kind of understand when you find red pill content. Like, okay, when you've been indoctrinated with all these ideas and all these things yet you think you should do for a woman, and that you realize all of that is bullshit, like, it'll make you want to strangle a bitch. It'll make you want to strangle bitches you don't know, right? Because as a guy, you spend a lot of your time and energy trying to date women, right? You're the one paying for the date. You're the one planning the date. Let me go or either you let her pick the restaurant because you want to be a good guy. You're thinking you're getting somewhere by doing all this extra shit that the movies have taught you. When you have to unlearn that shit, it will make you want to kick a bitch in the pussy. Like, right? Because you're sitting there putting all this effort, energy, doing all this stuff for a motherfucker. While on the other end, like, okay, it's on the other end, you gotta think. Picture a motherfucker having to be a good. I don't think women are bad people, right? I think they're people that, as far as like in the beginning, they're handed too much power. Meaning, like, as far as the one guy that a motherfucker might like, yeah, you might be a dumbass for that dude. But everybody else, you run like most girls have way more game than most guys, especially in the beginning, right? Because you're sitting there putting all shit don't mean anything to a motherfucker unless they like you. And that's what red pill content does to you. It basically takes everything you've ever been conditioned to know and unravels it from the inside out. Listen, when I have red pill awareness to some degree. It's not something I talk about. But see, I've been red pill longer than most niggas. So I've unlearned a lot of that shit. Because the thing about red pill is, when you first learn it, you feel like it's like picture learning a religion that you didn't know about. Like, but it's specific to you as a gender, right? Now, I've been red pill longer than most motherfuckers. And I've been red pill long enough to know that some of the red pill shit is bullshit. Like, it is. A lot of that red pill shit that motherfuckers be on, like, okay, when motherfuckers walk around trying to be alpha males, that shit is bullshit. Because it makes you, it indoctrinates you again, but in reverse. To where you have to live up to be all these things that no one asked you in the first place. Like, look, personally, me, I'm a game kind of guy. I like the idea of strategy. I like the idea of things that work in real time. Right? I do think red pill to some degree is important if you use it correctly, if you're guided by the right people. But most motherfuckers that are red pill are just a bunch of pissed off dudes that can't get no pussy. And I'm being honest with you about that. A bunch of pissed off dudes. Like, okay, it's one thing to be aware of it. It's another thing to use that as a talking point. Like, okay, what I'm saying is when I was like deep in the red pill shit, motherfuckers for the sake of arguing. Like, which is exactly what this lady's husband's going through. Like, I mean, arguing with motherfuckers unprompted. Like, who gives a fuck if a motherfucker finesses a motherfucker on a date? Like, who cares? Like, look, it's either you gonna put the work in to learn the strategy to maneuver around it, or you're not. Right? Listen, nobody gives a fuck that you got played when you were 12. Like, no one cares, dog. Like, and you going on this big tirade trying to get revenge on everybody is not doing anything for anyone or helping you either. And I'm saying this here because I have lived it. Like, I'm telling you, when I became aware, because look, again, red pill has its bad, but red pill also has its good. When you find out, I'm telling you, when you as a guy find out that girls are just using niggas for meals, like, it'll make you want to kick a bitch right in her asshole. I'm talking about, you are sitting here paying your hard-earned money that you went to work for 12 hours a day to take this girl on a date because you actually like her. This motherfucker that you're on a date with, that you're attracted to, is just sitting there because she wants a free meal and did not feel like going grocery shopping that day. When you learn that shit, like, it'll make you want to swing at her from across the table, right? Because you're actually putting, and I'm speaking specifically to a certain type of guy. When you're a guy trying to actually be a good man and you get finessed, because it's the same thing in reverse for women. Because I'm pretty sure women go through their own journey arc when they like the guy in high school or whatever the case may be, and he's the most attractive guy, but this guy is also the guy that gets all the girls, but you as a woman really believe that you can make this motherfucker fuck with just you. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the same effect. Like, I tell you another one, right? The 90-day rule. Like, oh my God. Like, okay, when you meet a girl, I guess the best way to put it is this. When you find out as a guy that girls fuck the dudes they like quickly, like all that fucking 6-date bullshit bitches be doing, it's just bullshit. Like, okay, they're trying to extract as much non-sexual attention from you before they gotta either put up or shut up. Right? When you find out that the girl you've been going on 5 or 6 dates with trying to fuck, that same girl fucked the same a dude the first day she met him. Like, when you find out that women are actually pulling one-night stands, I'm telling you, like, as a dude, a lot of times most men don't be knowing this shit, and then you find it out that the girl that you've been putting all this effort into is actually fucking some drug dealer. It's like, what? Like, who the fuck rigged the game like this? But see, okay, a lot of guys believe that the more expensive the date, that they're supposed to be able to get, like, sleep with the girl at the end of the day. So when this girl takes an Uber, goes home, like, okay, well, what some girls would do, they'll go on a date with you, right? You might go to this nice ass fancy restaurant where you pay $300, you know what I mean, for the first date. That same girl is gonna get full off that seafood, and that same girl will take a plate home to the nigga she's actually fucking for free. Like, when you find out that as a guy that didn't know, it will make you look at women completely in a very fucked up light. Like, a lot of girl game is counting on how much you don't know. And that's why, like, okay, That's why a lot of guys, when they find out about red pill content, they get so pissed off because they're putting all this effort in thinking that they're getting somewhere and making some sort of headway with women. When in reality, these girls don't give a fuck. And I'm saying, like, the certain niches, sometimes a lot of girls that you put that level of effort into, a girl that takes advantage of that is the person that doesn't give a fuck about you, right? Because a girl that gives a fuck about you is just going to reciprocate their energy and y'all going to be together. But that's not most people. Like, okay, you have to know when a motherfucker want to fuck you and when they don't want to fuck you. Like, asking to fuck quickly is not necessarily one of those things you're doing to be rude. It's just that you have to test women. Like, let's say you go on a first date, right? Or you might go on a first or second date. You have to get to the sex quickly, right? And look, that's just a little nugget I'm saying. This is really kind of like some old shit, but whatever. You have to get to the sex quickly, right? Because you need to know if this motherfucker's going to bullshit with your time. Because the thing about a lot of girls is, when you are not aware, girls are just bullshit time. They will bullshit with you and bullshit just for the sake of bullshit. And then they'll bullshit more bullshit after bullshitting the bullshit that they just bullshitted. Like, they'll just keep going just for the... Like, okay, if you keep taking a girl on 7, you'll be 8 dates in with this girl and wonder why y'all haven't slept together. And you know the only thing she'll give you in return? She'll kiss you on the side of the cheek. I'm just saying, like, you have to, as a guy, be aware of what's actually happening. Like, golly, you really have to know what the fuck is going on, because ain't no girl gonna be like, hey, that's wrong. You know, we shouldn't be going on 3 or 4 dates. Most girls are not gonna do that. Like, if you offer a chick anything, they're gonna just take it, and then you're gonna wonder why she's not calling you back, or like. Look, we're basically living in a time where a lot more guys are becoming more aware of it, which is basically what's happening to this lady's husband. You know what I mean? He got a hold of some content for whatever reason and basically flipped on her because, look, red pill content will piss you the fuck off because of how much you thought that you didn't know. Because, look, it's not even necessarily that girls are that much more smarter than men. It's just that men are so dumb that it's easy for women to finesse. Like, even in a relationship, right? If you ever get in a relationship, you have to almost all the time display strength, right? Me and one of my cousins was talking about that with one of the situations with his wife that he was going through. I'm not going to put nobody's name out there. But, you know, he was going through hell and back with his old lady. And then he got to the point where he was like, look, either you're going to be my piece or you're going to be my ex. You got to get to a point where you are cool with walking away from all this shit. Because what motherfuckers don't know is that they ask you for way more shit than you ask of them, right? And when a nigga find out, when that awareness kick in a motherfucker's head that, look, bitch, I don't really need you like that, like, that's when a motherfucker want to play ball. But long as you keep chasing her and putting her on this pedestal and making her seem like she's better than you, and look, I'm not saying you shouldn't treat a girl good. You should. But treat a motherfucker good that gives you that same energy back. Like, don't give that energy to a motherfucker that just feel like they the shit because they've been finessing niggas since they've been 16. Like, bitch, who the fuck you think you are? And again, it's not even that y'all are smart. Y'all just, a lot of girls purposely target really stupid niggas. like, you gotta understand what's happening while it's happening. Like, some guys, like, want to date younger. Like, because they know older women can be stressful. Like, okay, no one's gonna do anything hard for the sake of being, like, for the sake of, like, passing a difficulty. Like, this isn't PS5. What I'm saying is, motherfuckers don't do difficult shit for the sake of doing difficult shit. Women are like that. They're not gonna take the hard road with a motherfucker unless they actually like him enough to do that. A lot of y'all are in marriages right now where your wife wants to unravel the marriage because she's bored. Like, for the sake of just undoing it. It don't be nothing that happened. It don't be no real beef. It don't be no real problems. It's just a motherfucker you in their head, you didn't live up to be the nigga that they thought you were supposed to be because they felt like you should be that way. Now they want to destroy the entire marriage. But when you're aware of that, you know how to counteract it. And these be the bitches y'all sign contracts with. A motherfucker that want to undo the relationship because the shit ain't the fucking Disney fairy tale she believes it is in her head. Listen, even as a guy, and it's gonna sound weird, you're almost better off marrying a dude because at least a man's gonna honor the contract from a logical perspective. Like, a girl will do it for a little while. I'm not saying that women ain't never been in no 20-year marriages, and I'm getting off on a tangent here. I'm not saying motherfuckers won't stick with you. I'm saying like a motherfucker's emotions will cause them to undo the entire shit based on nothing but a feeling. Like, and you can't really sign paperwork or do business with a person that thinks with that type of wavelength. Like, again, that's not to say no one deserves to be married. I'm just saying, like, okay, that's like me walking into a swamp and then getting mad when there's alligators at the bottom. Like, some shit is just, when you become red pill aware, some shit sticks out like a sore thumb. Some shit is just logical. Like, okay, I wouldn't ask my girlfriend to bench 350 because she's not designed to do so. Like, you know what I mean? Just like I wouldn't ask her to take my car to fucking AutoZone to get the alternator changed because that's not her role in life. Like, getting off on a tangent here. I'm just saying, like, when you're that she don't think she did wrong. You know what I mean? But whatever, I've talked long enough on the subject. Red pill was just one of those things I'm passionate about, like, because I've lived it. So I had a lot to say on it. But it'll take me a nap. Wait for these boats to unload. Today's Monday. Christmas is coming soon. Valentine's Day is not far after. So, you know, get your motherfucking ducks in a row. Do with that information what you will.